Hey, what's up everybody? Back with another how-to. Today we're going to be doing spark plugs on this 2007 Ford Fusion 2.34 cylinder. Now this should fall in line with any first gen Ford Fusion, which would be 2006 to 2012, although the 2.34 cylinder is only 2006 to 2009, although it should still be similar with the 2.5s that range from 2010 to 2012. So let's get into it now. Alright guys, so first thing we need to do is move this air tube out of the way. So that is kind of blocking one of our coils and spark plugs. So obviously we're just going to quick remove that in order to get access to our plugs. So this is held in by two 10 mils. So there is one right here. I'm just going to take a drill to it, blast it on out. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a magnetic tray so we don't lose it. Then there's one more back here. It's a nut. Blasted it off, got it off. Go ahead and put it with the other one. And now you should be able to pull this right off and we can go ahead and safely put this to the side. All right, so now we have the plastic tube that was covering the valve cover and the plugs up removed. Now we have access to our 4 plugs and coils. So I'm just going to do each one of these one by one. So I'm going to disconnect the harness here. All right, remove that from the coil. And then I'm going to go ahead and shoot off the coil bolt holding it in. Now this is a 8 mil, so I just have the drill with the 8 mil socket. Got that thing right out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that to the side. With our other bolts, then the coil should come right out. So we have our coil removed. Now we have access to the spark plug well, and we can go ahead and get the spark plug out. All right, so now that we have the coil out, we have access to the spark plug. Now, the spark plug is a 5/8 spark plug socket. I just have a long extension, 3/8 drive, nothing crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and start to get this thing loose. Now, she is extremely tight. And in this case, something like that, what I would do is slowly turn it one way and then tighten it back up. So I'm just turn back, turn forward. We just want to get it moving because we don't want to break it. Definitely don't want to strip it out. So I'm going to start giving it a few turns back. And she is extremely tight, but let's continue to work this thing and see if we can get it out without stripping it. Just being very careful, guys. This thing feels really bad. And don't put a huge half drive or anything that's going to be overly powerful to break it out, or possibly break the plug, strip something. Just really slowly maneuver this and take your time. By the way, this is not my vehicle. This is my neighbor's that I periodically service. He asked me if I recommended doing anything on this car with the mileage, and I asked him when the last time he did the plugs were, and he said he doesn't even remember doing them. So this car's got like 160 something on it, and I wouldn't be surprised if these are the original plugs, so especially the way they're fighting me. I think I actually got this one coming out, guys. Holy crap. Telling you guys, don't be crazy with this. Don't overwork it. Take your time. You're not in a race to get this done. I don't care where you are in the shop with the time span. If you break a plug, you're gonna have a way bigger problem on your hand than taking your time trying to get one of these things out. Bang. There she is, guys. Looking a bit oily, so probably need to do a valve cover on this as well. So I'm gonna definitely suggest that to him since these plugs are completely drenched, but we got her out, guys. And these are most likely the original plugs, as you see the FOMOCO, Ford Motor Company. So all right, so here is our new plugs. I went with the OEM Ford Motorcraft plugs. Now, as you can see, here is our oiled up original. Got the FOMOCO on there, as does our new one. So Pretty much a perfect match there. These are the SP530. All right, so that is the OE original Iridium plug. So let's go ahead and prep this thing up and get it installed. All right, so we have the new plug here. Now, the first thing we want to do to avoid that horrific tightness that we had when we're trying to take it out is take a little bit of anti-seize. Just put a bead on your finger and just spread it across the threads. You don't have to go crazy. We don't need to drench this in anti-seize. As you can see, I'm just taking a little bit, spinning across the threads. So let's get this anti-seize on, and then from there we can go ahead and install the plug. All right, so now that we have the anti-seize all over our plug, we're gonna go ahead, drop it in, and I wanna drop it into the cylinder, and I'm gonna start this just with my finger. We're gonna finger thread it in here till it's tight, and then we're just gonna go ahead and torque it to spec. Now the torque spec for this is 106 inch-pounds, which is about 9 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish this up with my finger, and then we'll torque it to 9 foot-pounds or 106 inch-pounds. All right, got it about finger tight there, so I'm gonna slap my torque wrench on here. Got it set at 106 inch-pounds. Perfect, look at that. Barely a turn after finger tight, guys. So there we go, guys. That plug is in, torque the spec. Now all we have to do is put our ignition coil back in there. Now just make sure the coil looks clean, make sure there's no dirt, grime, or anything like that. I'm just gonna give it a little wipe down with this paper towel. All right, slide that back in. We're gonna take our 8mm bolt, started with my finger. So we have the 8mm coil bolt, finger tight. Now we're gonna go ahead and torque that to spec. It is 89 inch-pounds, which is in between 7 and 8 foot-pounds. So go ahead and lock this in at 89. Perfect, guys. Got that locked in at 89. Last thing, we're just gonna go ahead and press the harness back on. And the first plug is officially replaced, guys. We got that one done, so we're just gonna do the same thing for the next 3. All right, so we got the first plug completely replaced. Then we're gonna move on to the second one right here. So just gonna take the harness off, clip right off. Then we're gonna go ahead and remove our 8mm. We're gonna do that with a drill. Right out. Can pull our coil out now. Now we can hop right into getting the plug out, and I don't expect this one to be any easier. Oh no, of course not. Got her started a hair. And I'm just gonna approach this one with the same method, guys. Take my time, slight turn tight, slight turn back. I'm just gonna keep moving them back and forth until I get it a little bit freed up here. All right, so I can finally start backing this thing out here. Got enough turns in. Yep. There it is, and drenching oil, guys. Look at that. Well, got her out. All right, so let's go ahead and check the gap on this thing now. It's right at 55, and that's what the OEM ones were. And the recommended spark plug gap is 0.049 to 0.055, so right about in that range. All right, so we just got a little bit of anti-seize on this, and go ahead and run it across the threads. So let's go ahead and finger thread this thing on in there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw my torque wrench on here. Got a finger tight. Now remember, this is 106 inch-pounds. Locked on in. So we got the plug torqued to spec. Now I'm just gonna make sure the coil's clean. We're gonna go ahead, drop her on down. Start our 8mm bolt here, get it finger tight. And remember, our coil is 89 inch-pounds, so that 8mm is 89 inch-pounds. Gonna get that thing locked in. Bang, got it locked in at 89. So let's go ahead and get our harness on. Bang, so 2 down, guys. On to the next one. Alright, so we're on to the last one here. By now we should probably know the routine, so we're going to go ahead and take that harness off. Back this 8mm out. Pull the coil out. Start breaking this thing loose. And it looked like the car decided to save the best one for last, because my God, this thing is in here. Oh my God. I'm almost scared to go any farther. Just take your time, guys. I'm just 1 crack forward, 1 crack back. 2 cracks back on that one. Alright guys, looks like this thing's finally starting to free up a hair. Yeah. Still doesn't want to come out though. Man, that thing really fought me, guys. And I think I see why, because it was dry as a bone. Looks like that's the only one that didn't get oil through the seal, so that's probably why it was in there. Man, look at that. Crazy. All right, let's go ahead and get that one replaced. Let's go ahead and check our gap. And as for me, all these gaps have been on point. They all came out of the box good and coincided with what came out of the car, so perfect. Hit and get our anti-seize on. Let's go ahead and drop her on down. And we're just going to go ahead and get this finger tight in the cylinder. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it torqued to spec. Remember, 106 inch-pounds. There it is, guys. Barely a turn. get our coil back on. This thing was really dry as a bone because this was the only one that wasn't leaking. Drop our 8mm down, get it finger tight, and torque that to 89 inch-pounds. There it is. Harness. Bang, guys. All 4 plugs are officially replaced. And it looks like the next step on this, I'm going to tell them, is a valve cover, but that's for another video. But we're all good as far as the plugs are concerned. Everything's torqued to spec. Everything's back in. Now all we have to do is put our air intake tube back over it, and then we're good to go. Alright, so it should just drop right back into place here. Not going to be the funnest thing to do one-handed, but looks like I got it. Get that started there. Then drop the nut back on here on the back. Just make sure it's pressed back in where it needs to be in the back, which it is. Get that finger tight. And all I'm going to do is just shoot these back on with a drill. 10mm. Same thing over here, 10mm. And we are officially reassembled, guys. Not too hard. It's a pretty straightforward job. I mean, only thing that could really possibly give you trouble, in my opinion, would be those plugs being tight. But other than that, I hope this helped, and stay tuned for the next one. Never know when I might be wrenching on this thing again, so